I guess having Coleman back out there, was it, you know, after a few weeks not being out there, was a little bit of rust there, or did he just kind of pick up and keep on going?
He was actually a lot better than I thought he would be. Playing center, for the most part, his snap location was good. You know, he's always been a guy that's understands the offense, and I was quite surprised really. I mean, he's further ahead than I thought he would be.
Do you go center most of the rest of the way with him, or are you bouncing around? How do you handle just with 4 days left after the
I'm gonna we're going to keep him working at center. You know, again, the importance that Coach Jones stresses is, you know, the spread offense of what we do and the tempo of things, and just the location of the snaps being critical with, you know, the different things we do. That it's got to be on point. The timing, the timing stuff, as well as the calls to be made. You know, he can work all summer long on still working snaps, but also even the sets at the tackle spot. But getting him as much work at center as possible we feel is really important right now.
How much did Brett take advantage of his opportunity with Coleman? Does that look like he kind of slid in with the first group, and it seems like he's kind of run with it?
Yeah, he has. He, you know, just this whole spring, you know, regardless of what happened, and Brett's approach has been really focused, and you know, really both he and Austin Sanders are guys that they know that the time has gone by fast, and it's time to step up and play. And you know, both guys are working extremely hard at it, and Brett's been, you know, consistent this spring, and his work's paid off. His body's maturing, and you know, he's been steady.
So it's not necessarily a permanent switch to center. It's just that's where he'll be working primarily the rest of spring practice. You know,
he got the workload obviously at tackle last year. He came in as a center, and again, for some of the things he can do athletically, and you never have enough depth at center. So it was important for us to, you know, as you go through spring, you got to experiment with guys at different spots, and you always got to prepare for different things that happen throughout the season, of, you know, the what ifs, and you know, so. We feel like you can never have that many centers going into a given season. And, you know, Jay Sean's another guy that we worked at that spot as well. So, you know, we're working at getting some, you know, questions answered, and, you know, some guys have responded.
How is Jay Sean looking at center?
He, again, too, been really surprised at his snap location. When we first did this way back in really bull prep is kind of where it started, and then January got into where the repetitions of the amount of snaps per week. One Saturday I came into my office and looked out the window and saw Jay Sean and a couple other guys with the quarterbacks, and he was working on snapping. So he's put forth the effort to make sure that you know, he's hitting the right spot with it and understanding the calls. And that's the big thing too with Coleman, is taking control of the line. You know, they've got to be the voice for us up front, and the inflection in their voice as far as calls being made, and understanding that is so important. So, you know, Jay Sean's just, I don't, you know, the guy is just, he's enjoyed coaching him, answers any challenge, responds to it, and now he's taking the role of leading and doing a good job as that as well. So we've got some questions answered with him.
Have there been any other guys that you've cross-trained that you saw their work there and said, you know, that's pretty good, we might be able to give that a look that you might not have thought of before?
You know, probably the first year was Zach Fulton, experimenting with him as well out at tackle, because we just didn't know where Tiny would be coming back from his surgery. You know, was a guy that really surprised us because he wasn't you know, the typical body type to be out on the edge, but he was so competitive and so smart, and just, you know, a talented guy that could do that. And that's what spring's for, is really, you know, you hit a point sometimes too where the reality is, you know, and I think, you know, receiver position, defensive positions, you know, Coach Jones talks about our football intelligence as a whole, and I just think it's so important for guys to have an overall understanding of everything, backs, course, quarterback's launch point, all those things, that the more positions you can play, the more value. So the spring's the time for guys to be able to do that, and that's why I really enjoy this time as well. And I challenge them with it, you know, from a standpoint like Kyler Kerberson saying, well, you can't play all three. Well, yeah, I can, I'll show you. And he does, you know. So he's probably one that's one of the one surprises like last year, that center, guard, and tackle. Usually it's maybe center, guard and tackle. He attacks all three, and you know, there's, you know, not necessarily, you know, this spring it's been tackle, just allow him to really concentrate on sets and footwork and all, but he'll attack any of the other two as well.
How much better? Oh, go ahead, Brent.
No, go ahead.
How much better is your situation overall maybe than it was if you look back this time last year where you were replacing all those guys? And I know it's hard sometimes in the day-to-day grind of coaching to step back and think about the big picture, but just how much better maybe is the situation than it was?
You know, yeah, it's funny you asked that, because today during the practice I was looking at them going through, you know, different segments of practice, and you know, it's really one in which the experience part of it, the communication part of it, the part where it's not as much looking for, you know, maybe it's a coaching point, or maybe it's a tip, or whatever it is. They know, they understand, they get it. You know, they've been through the hard, you know, times, or hard, you know, times that they got beat. They understand some things. They understand the defensive structure. So from that standpoint, we're better off. We're nowhere near where we need to be yet. You know, I like the approach, and I like the experience that the guys have. The urgency level, again, has been, to me, it's been outstanding, the way the guys have approached. We've been really consistent in our approach. We haven't been as consistent in our play, but the experience has been really valuable for us, and that's probably the biggest reason why we're just a bit ahead this year.
Do you feel better about finding five, or do you feel better about having solutions to personnel problems that maybe you didn't have a year ago?
Feeling better to some solutions for some problems. We've been able to identify some of that, and still excited about, you know, the incoming guys that we have. You know, you never know what surprise may pop, like Jay Sean did last year, but knowing some of the problems that we had and addressing those, and you know, some of the solutions coming out of the spring makes us feel like we're heading in the right direction.
Thanks.